Hello there, fourth graders. Miss Hess here in the library. Well, how was your spring break last week? Did you enjoy it? I sure hope so. The weather was beautiful, and I hope you got a chance to be outside and enjoy the nature. So here we are in April already. Wow, it's crazy. So April is one of my favorite months of the year. Number one reason is because it's spring and the nature is exploding everywhere. I really enjoy that. And it's also National Poetry Month. And Miss Hess loves me some poetry. And I hope you enjoy poetry too, because we're going to do a little poetry today. Now, before we get started on poetry, let's think a little bit about, what is it? Think about that for a second. What is poetry? What makes poetry stand out from other kinds of writing? Okay, I hear you out there. A lot of you are saying, it rhymes, right? So, yes, poetry often rhymes, but not always. And in fact, the book that I selected from the poetry section that's within nonfiction today doesn't rhyme at all. Okay, so sometimes that's different with poetry. Hello, fourth graders. Miss Hess here in the library. Hope everyone's doing well out there and that you enjoyed your spring break last week. It sure was beautiful weather, wasn't it? And the nature was extraordinary last week. So, here we are in April, and April is one of my most favorite months of the year. The first reason being, for what I was just talking about a second ago, was the spring and the nature exploding. I absolutely love the spring. And the second reason I love April is because it's National Poetry Month. And I love poetry, and I hope that you do too. And before we get rolling with a little bit of poetry today, I want to ask you, what is poetry to you? What do you think of when you first think about poetry? Let's think about that for a minute. Yep, I hear you all. You're saying, it rhymes. You're right. A lot of times poetry does rhyme, but sometimes it doesn't, right? So there's different kinds of poetry. So, what makes poetry stand out from other kinds of writing? Okay, think about that for a second. So the thing that's different about poetry is poetry is like an expression of feelings or ideas that stands out like with a special style of the rhythm with the words, right? So sometimes you'll see there'll be like only one word on a line. Sometimes there'll be a whole bunch of words on a line. Sometimes there'll be different kinds of font and different sizes of words. You'll see a lot of differences, and I chose a book that really shows that. Okay, this is not a rhyming poetry selection at all, and in fact it is just really, really interesting, the style of it, and that's what makes poetry stand apart from different kinds of writing, like from just when we read a regular chapter book. It's just totally different with the rhythm. So, the poetry book I chose today is called A Moose Bush. What? A Few Choice Words About Food. And this is by Eric Shabazz Larkin. Now, I don't know about you guys, but in our house, during this isolation from everybody, one of the few things that we are really, really into these days is eating. How about you guys? How many times do you go to the refrigerator every day? A lot, right? So we've been into cooking quite a bit at our house and trying out new recipes and whatnot. And I bet some of you out there have maybe been watching some Netflix cooking shows. Maybe your family's into that too. So I chose this book because of what's going on with food. With the coronavirus, we are just trapped indoors. So food is everything. So that's why I chose this book. Okay? So the really interesting thing about this is it tells us what this title means. Because like a moose bush, so this first page defines it for us. And it shows us how to pronounce that word because it's actually French. So, amuse-bouche is French, and it's a noun. So the first definition is, it's a small complimentary appetizer offered by the chef just before dinner. And the second definition, the literal translation from French, amuse plus bouche, meaning mouth, equals amuse the mouth or mouth amuser. And the third definition, a tiny bite that gives an idea of a chef's approach to food. And the fourth is an appetizing little poem about food to read aloud just before dinner or any time at all, which is what we're going to do today. Okay, and then when you first open it, this is the coolest table of contents that I think I've seen in a book. So you can see the table of contents is like a menu at a restaurant. And it tells all the different kinds of, it tells all the titles of the different poems we could choose from. There's one called Secret Meat, Runaway Beans, I Am a Farmer, If I Had My Own Cooking Show, and then it gives the page numbers. So I chose 4 poems to share with you today, and I hope that you enjoy them. Okay? So this first one is called Booster. There's something special about this chicken dinner, but the reason I can't quite finger. It's soft and kind and subtle and sweet and makes me happy down to my feet. Oh, there's some rhyming in that. It's so juicy and delectable, and my mouth's a perfect fit. I think it smells like heaven, but that's not it. There's something familiar about this chicken dinner, but what I have yet to figure. With every bite I take, I want to cock-a-doodle-oo. But wait, is that an empty chicken coop? There's something special about this chicken dinner, and the reason is, I think, I just ate my pet rooster, Booster. And he tastes so good. So that's the picture about Booster right there. And then look at this page. You have to feed me to love me. Oh yeah. All right, so that was Booster, the pet rooster. So that poem did have a little bit of rhyming. Okay? So this next one is called Slippery Noodles. Slippery noodles. Twirl them, whirl them, stop them, slip them, twist them, curl them, whip them, flip them, sip them, slurp them, chew them, beat them. But you must use a fork when you eat them. Hear that rhythm? Slurp it up, mash it up, cut it up, clap it up, look it up, pass it up, turn it up, flap it up, shake it up, make it up, smell it up, love it up. But you do not use your hands when you eat it up. That was Slippery Noodles. Okay? And then look at this page opposite. Where there is food, there will be laughter and crumbs. Do you like this book so far? I hope so. I thought it was really fun, and I just love the different kinds of font that you see. Different sizes, different styles. Everything is different with the words, right? That makes it interesting to the eye. This poem is called Would You Eat green eggs with dye. I hear a little Dr. Seuss in there. Would you eat green eggs with dye? I would not eat green eggs with dye. I would not like my bread bleached white. I would not like my drink turned blue. I would not like my greens cooked brown. I would not like my muffins teal. Please don't change the colors of my meal. Look at that, green eggs. Cool, right? All right. And this one, I just love this. Look at this. This little poem is just like written in a very interesting style. It's even hard to describe, right? It's called Selfish Shelby, and it's kind of like worked into a picture, right? Shelby was the kind of girl who didn't like to share. So when she heard bacteria helped her tummy eat, she said it was unfair. Selfish Shelby. Cool, right? All right. Oh, how about this one right here? Let's do it. Pet cabbage. I lost my pet cabbage, but how is that? I dressed it with a feather upon its hat. It used to be round and purple and plump, but then it got squishy and smelled like a dump. I left it alone with my mom one day. She said it ran off when she looked away. But I don't think that could be true, 'cause that's not something my cabbage would do. Okay. And then, finally, the last poem of the day. It's called Dancing in the Kitchen. Okay? We've done a lot of this at my house. We dance, we cook. We try to make joy wherever we are. Okay. Dancing kitchen. You're flipping, mixing, and dancing too. You're baking, sautéing, and sizzling food. Steam a potato, add a spice. Splash olive oil in yellow rice. Cook something different. Same as old news. Turn up the music. Wear your dancing shoes. You're flipping, mixing, and dancing too. You're baking, sautéing, and sizzling food. And now we're cooking in a dancing kitchen. You're baking, sautéing, and sizzling food. So keep flipping, mixing, and dancing too. So I wish you all a good week and happy cooking. Oh, and don't forget, if you go to Mac and Via and go ahead and log in, you guys know how to do that, and you go to ebooks, and if you are a lover of poetry, you just put in the search bar up top, poetry. We have 102 books that are related to poetry in Mac and Via ebooks. So I hope you guys get a chance to experience some. All right, you guys have a nice day, and I'll see you soon. Bye.